Hey, it's Black Vader with another reading of the code. You can get the code at producejustice.com. Written by Neely Fullers. Goes into 9 areas of human activity based upon the system of white supremacy. All 9 areas: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war/counter-war. Today we're going to be reading some more into the code of war/counter-war, area 9. So let's get into it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and thank you for being a part of this reading, this journey. And just make sure you get the code. You know, you be the judge of yourself whether you like it or not, but I'm just here to read. And thanks to everyone who's a part of this as well. So we're on page 387. Do not enact maximum emergency compensatory action until you have allowed a great period of time to pass in order for the powers of the known and unknown, God, the Great Spirit, all power, Allah, etc., to take direct action in the situation. Explanation: all existence is a gift. The elimination of the existence of oneself or another should not be done for any reason that is of no great constructive value. The elimination of the gift of existence of any person, animal, etc. should not be done by those subject to the masters of injustice, racists, unless there is no other known way for the subjects to effectively stop and or discourage the masters of injustice from promoting and or maintaining the practice of injustice within a reasonable period of time. Those people who are subject to these masters should not be ashamed to ask and plead with these masters for such valuable an act as elimination of justice, the deliberate elimination of the existence of oneself, along with the elimination of one or more of the masters of injustice, should not be done before these masters have been asked repeatedly to stop their practices. A person who exists in subjugation to the powers of the masters of injustice should not, however, enact maximum emergency compensatory action unless subjugation to these masters is unbearable and unless it is obvious that there is little chance that the masters will cease to practice injustice soon enough by choice. Before a victim decides to enact maximum emergency compensatory action, it is very important that the powers of the known and unknown, God, the Creator, Allah, etc., be recognized, and that the person who decides to enact maximum emergency compensatory action be convinced on the basis of reason, logic, and faith that the powers of the known and unknown has clearly indicated that the enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action is correct for the time, place, and circumstance. Do not enact maximum emergency compensatory action in any manner and or during any condition where it is likely that people will be killed or injured who are senile, infantile, and in other ways not capable of practicing white supremacy racism. In the enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action, no person should be killed except white supremacist racists and the victim of white supremacy, non-white person who did the killing. These are 2 of the basic requirements of maximum emergency compensatory action. If a victim of white supremacy, in an attempt to enact maximum emergency compensatory action, kills any person other than a white supremacist, and other than himself or herself immediately thereafter, the act was not a promotion of maximum emergency compensatory action for justice, but it was the maintenance of non-justice. Question: what if a non-white person, while attempting to enact maximum emergency compensatory action, kills or injures another non-white person? Answer: when the maximum emergency compensatory action is enacted, no people are executed except white people who practice white supremacy racism, and the one non-white person who executed those white people then executes himself or herself. Otherwise, the combined acts cannot be maximum emergency compensatory action. If other people are killed or injured by accident or deliberately, it is not maximum emergency compensatory action. In the enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action, there can be no mistakes. Mistakes destroy the purpose of the enactment and its identity as a maximum emergency compensatory action. Do not restrict the enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action only to those white people that you personally dislike. Enact maximum emergency compensatory action by executing any white person present who practices racism, white supremacy, including those whom you like or admire, as well as those whom you dislike or do not admire. Reason: a white supremacist racist is a white supremacist. A white supremacist is a person who willfully and deliberately practices injustices against people who are classified as non-white, and by doing so prevents the possibility of justice being established by any people, white or non-white, any place in the known universe. A white supremacist is a person who prefers to promote falsehood rather than truth. A white supremacist is a person who prefers injustice rather than justice. A white supremacist is a person who prefers war rather than peace. A white supremacist is a person who prefers to deceive, belittle, seduce, and exploit a non-white person rather than do all that he or she can to help all persons to be perfectly constructive beings. A white supremacist is a person who prefers to kill non-white people rather than to see them evolve into people who effectively promote the revelation of truth and the use of truth and use the truth in a manner that promotes the establishment of justice and correctness. I will say that one more time. A white supremacist is a person who prefers to kill non-white people rather than to see them evolve into people who effectively promote the revelation of truth and use the truth in a manner that promotes the establishment of justice and correctness. Many white supremacists are extremely intelligent. Many are very attractive and fascinating, arresting to the eye and pleasing to the ear. Many of them have such likable personalities that it is extremely difficult to believe that such people could be so completely dedicated to the practice of injustice. Many of them have such likable personalities that it is extremely difficult to believe that they are willing to use whatever deceit and violence is necessary to maintain the ability to take unjust advantage of the primitive conditions and or the stupidity or silliness of the large number of relatively pitiful non-white people of the known universe. Reminder: both the racist, white supremacist, and the victim of white supremacy, non-white person, who enacts maximum emergency compensatory action cease to exist in the process. In a matter so serious, the likes and dislikes of people on the basis of personality, though desirable, may likely hinder the promotion of justice during a time when it is the last chance for a victim of racist injustice to do so. Maximum emergency compensatory action is a maximum. This means that it is enacted only when a condition of white supremacy causes a victim of white supremacy to react to the condition with maximum counteraction because of unbearable pain and or total despair. This means it is enacted only when the condition of racism, white supremacy, causes a victim of white supremacy to react to the condition as an emergency, because there is, for that particular individual victim, no other functional choice for effectively. I'll read it again. This means it is enacted only when a condition of racism, white supremacy, causes a victim of white supremacy to react to the condition as an emergency, because there is, for that particular individual victim, no other functional choice for effectively promoting a counteraction to racism/white supremacy. Question: as part of maximum emergency compensatory action, why is it necessary for the person enacting it to terminate his or her own existence? Answer: any person who enacts maximum emergency compensatory action should strive to survive no longer than is necessary to terminate the existence of one or more racist, white supremacists whose existence has been chosen for extermination. For termination. Maximum emergency compensatory action for justice is designed to teach, among other lessons, that all people have value. The existence of one person is as precious as the existence of another person, and no person is entitled to plan the willful and deliberate killing of another person unless he or she is willing to also kill himself or herself. This should be done not only to express the honesty of purpose, but also to help support one of the basic requirements of the law of compensation in regards to helping to produce justice through the necessary killing of people. Another basic lesson that should be known and understood is that the deliberate making of the death of a person or creature should never be regarded as a sport or as fun. Nor should such death making be for the purpose of proving so-called manhood or womanhood, or for the purpose of robbing or stealing, etc. When the person enacting maximum emergency compensatory action can no longer execute more racist white supremacists, can no longer escape captivity, and or no longer escape being killed or maimed by others. Go ahead, I'm yawning. I'll read it one more time. When the person enacting maximum emergency compensatory action can no longer execute more racist white supremacists, can no longer escape captivity, or can no longer escape being killed or maimed by others, then that person must terminate his or her own existence. A person enacting maximum emergency compensatory action must not go into hiding after terminating the existence of one or more racist white supremacists. He or she must directly and immediately continue the execution of racist white supremacists repeatedly without respite. Once the enactment evolves into a situation where no more racists can be executed, the victims of racism enacting the execution or executions must immediately terminate his or her own existence. This is an absolute requirement of maximum emergency compensatory action. The person who enacts maximum emergency compensatory action must terminate his or her own existence. To not do so would be to admit that there is actually no condition that the person believed to be of maximum emergency. Like he stated before, maximum emergency compensatory action is a maximum. Okay, let's continue. It is unjust and incorrect to willfully or deliberately seek and enact the elimination of others through death and afterwards seek to maintain one's existence. To do so would mean that the other people, white or non-white, may become involved in the capture, maiming, and or killing of the person who enacted the termination of the existence of others. This would be unjust. One of the basic principles of maximum emergency compensatory action is that all executions are enacted by the one non-white person who enacts them, including the execution of himself or herself. An act of maximum emergency compensatory action is considered maximum emergency compensatory action only if conducted in such a manner that a victim of racism acting openly and alone executes one or more persons who practices white supremacy racism and also immediately thereafter executes himself or herself. If he or she executes or maims any other person, and or if he or she is executed or maimed by another person, by any other person, it is not maximum emergency compensatory action. When maximum emergency compensatory action is enacted, only racist white supremacists are executed, and all executions are enacted by one non-white person who completes the enactment by executing himself or herself. The combined acts thus produce the correct compensatory meaning with the correct interpretation. The completed sequence of actions is the only way for the acts to have the correct value. This is me not reading from the code right now. In my opinion, I agree. It is a total maximum. If you're have your back against the wall and you want to plan and act and you've tried the things that you've tried in terms of reaching out to racists, asking for help, or just asking for help the way that the individual person may need to over and over, consistently over and over, and you've even talked to God about it and nothing isn't working out towards the things that you need to. and you feel like it's either I'm gonna die or I'm gonna lose my life if this doesn't happen, then I can understand why someone would want to kill themselves living in this system right after they enact maximum emergency compensatory action. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Let's see how far we want to go before I start going in. Maybe I give it one more. Yeah, I give it 2 more pages. Okay. Since every person's existence is a gift to the people of the known universe, no person should willfully and deliberately terminate the existence of another unless there is absolute need to do so. The willful and deliberate termination of any person's existence should never be regarded as an act that is less than serious to the utmost. A person who terminates the existence of another person through the process of maximum emergency compensatory action must complete the process by terminating his or her own existence as a means of proving the absolute need for such final action. The serious quality of maximum emergency compensatory action is particularly emphasized by the important characteristic of a person terminating his or her own existence as a necessary final part of the act itself. This characteristic best expresses the validity of the necessity for the act and the importance of justice as a maximum value that is promoted through the act. Maximum emergency compensatory action is a very peculiar act. It is peculiar in that the only person that can correctly be guilty of promoting it is a person who actually commits an act that fits the description. The concept of maximum emergency compensatory action is deliberately intended to remove all thoughts of fun and glory from the concept and practice of deliberate death-making. Teaching people that killing is fun should never have started. Killing and dying as a result of having been killed is not fun. It is insanity. In addition, in any situation dominated by white supremacist races, sanity does not exist. Since maximum emergency compensatory action is a justifiably insane act against suspected racist war criminals, white supremacists who are also criminally insane, it is therefore those criminally insane racist war criminals who are to blame for the conditions that produce the justifiably insane act of maximum emergency compensatory action. One of the basic lessons of maximum emergency compensatory action is that there is nothing to be gained by killing people, nor by mistreating people. Killing people, deliberate death-making, within the system of white supremacy racism has been made to appear as something normal. It has been regarded as thrilling and or heroic. It has been deliberately made to seem like fun. It has inspired people to kill for purposes of producing so-called glory. Do not discuss any specific enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action or any act by anyone at any time that seems to be an enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action. I'll read that again. Do not discuss any specific enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action or any act by anyone at any time that seemed to be an enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action. I might even put that in the description. This pen works. Reason. The only person who is justified in calling a specific act of maximum emergency compensatory action by that title is the one who enacts it. Since the person who enacts maximum emergency compensatory action will cease to exist as part of the enactment, no other person is qualified to make accurate statements as to whether maximum emergency compensatory action was or was not enacted. Even though other people can describe what they saw happen, it is incorrect for them to say that they know for certain that what they saw was an enactment of maximum emergency compensatory action. In answer to a specific question as to whether a specific act was or was not maximum emergency compensatory action, a person's remark should always be, "I don't know." Make certain that you limit all that you say about maximum emergency compensatory action to the following. 1. Describing what maximum emergency compensatory action is. 2. Describing what maximum emergency compensatory action is not. 3. Making no remarks about what is said to be specific events that appeared to be maximum emergency compensatory action. Describe only what was done. Note, according to Compensatory Code, it is best that a non-white person do anything in regards to maximum emergency compensatory action other than the aforementioned. When asked if a specific incident was similar to an act of maximum emergency compensatory action, say the following. According to compensatory counter-racist logic, I am prohibited from saying anything about maximum emergency compensatory action except to describe what it is and what it is not. Jesus Christ, man, we're almost done. Wow. It's crazy. I think I'm done reading today, but I just wanted to say thanks to everyone who's been a part of me for over a year reading the code. I have videos going all the way back to Area 1. You can just either, scroll down on my page and check it out. Maybe I'll make a playlist for each area and then just combine it eventually. But I just want to say thanks to everyone who's a part of this and who's on code. If I can spark, some type of warmth or growth in the eyes of others, just like how Neely did us with this code, even just with Dr. Francis Cresswell singing, others, I think I did my part. It's all about spreading that love and justice, even if, we can each and every day somehow, some way. 1 second, 1 minute, 1 millisecond. If we can just be on code forever somehow, we got it. But I just want to say thanks to those who's a part of this. And God bless everyone who's a part of this as well. Thank you for being near almost 30 minutes of me writing. Talking. Like I said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. It's Black Vader. I love y'all. Peace.